In the early hours of March 8, 2014, a Boeing 777 carrying 239 souls took off from Kuala Lumpur, bound for Beijing. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 climbed to its cruising altitude, a routine journey across the night sky. Just under an hour into the flight, as it was about to pass from Malaysian to Vietnamese air traffic control, the aircraft's transponder, which communicates its identity and position, was switched off. The last verbal communication from the cockpit was a calm and routine sign-off, "Good night, Malaysian 370. Shortly after, the plane vanished from civilian radar screens. It was as if a modern, sophisticated airliner had simply ceased to exist, swallowed by the darkness. This event would trigger the most extensive, expensive, and baffling search in aviation history. The initial search and rescue efforts focused on the South China Sea, the logical area where the plane was last tracked. Teams from multiple nations scoured the waters, expecting to find a debris field, the sad but familiar aftermath of an aviation disaster. But days turned into a week, and the search yielded nothing. There were no distress calls, no wreckage, no oil slicks. The complete absence of evidence was deeply unsettling and pointed to something far stranger than a typical accident. The mystery deepened when military radar data was re-examined. It showed that after disappearing from civilian radar, the aircraft had made a sharp turn to the west, flying back over the Malaysian peninsula. It then turned again, heading northwest up the Strait of Malacca, before finally turning south. This was not the flight path of an aircraft in distress. These were deliberate, calculated maneuvers. Someone was flying the plane, but they were flying it in silence and into oblivion. The key to understanding the plane's new, mysterious path came from a British satellite telecommunications company, Inmarsat. Their satellite, positioned in geostationary orbit over the Indian Ocean, had been receiving automated signals from the aircraft. These signals, known as handshakes, were simple pings from the plane's satellite data unit. The system was trying to log onto the network, and the satellite was responding. These pings contained no specific location data, but they were a ghost in the machine, proof that MH370 was still powered up and flying for hours after it vanished. By analyzing the time it took for these signals to travel between the aircraft and the satellite, investigators could calculate the plane's approximate distance from the satellite at the time of each handshake. This allowed them to draw vast arcs on a map, representing the possible locations of the aircraft at hourly intervals. The final, seventh handshake occurred at 8:19 a.m. Malaysian time, more than 7 hours after the plane first disappeared. This final ping, combined with an analysis of the Doppler effect, the subtle shift in the signal's frequency, helped investigators determine the aircraft's likely direction of travel. The data pointed overwhelmingly to one conclusion: flight MH370 had flown south, deep into the remote southern Indian Ocean, one of the most inhospitable and uncharted stretches of water on the planet. This new search area was immense, a desolate expanse of ocean west of Australia. The plane would have continued flying until it ran out of fuel, eventually crashing into the sea. The challenge was finding a needle in a haystack the size of a continent. The underwater search began, an unprecedented effort involving sophisticated sonar equipment, autonomous underwater vehicles, and specialized ships. They methodically scanned the seabed, mapping a landscape of underwater mountains and deep canyons, searching for any sign of wreckage. Despite covering over 120,000 square kilometers of the seafloor, the official search found absolutely nothing. After nearly 3 years, in January 2017, the governments of Malaysia, Australia, and China officially suspended the search, admitting they were unable to locate the aircraft. The lack of answers fueled a wave of speculation and theories. How could a state-of-the-art aircraft, in an age of constant connectivity and GPS, simply disappear? The most prominent and disturbing theory centered on the actions of the pilot, Captain Zaharia Maja. Was it a case of pilot suicide, a deliberate act of mass murder? Investigators looked into Captain Zahari's life. They found he had a flight simulator at home, and deleted data recovered from its hard drive showed he had plotted a course into the deep southern Indian Ocean, a route eerily similar to the one investigators believed MH370 had taken. This was a chilling discovery, yet it was not a smoking gun. Many pilots use home simulators to practice various scenarios, and the presence of such a route could be a coincidence. Those who knew Captain Zahari described him as a dedicated, experienced professional, and they struggled to believe he could be responsible for such an act. The theory suggests that the pilot may have deliberately depressurized the cabin shortly after turning the aircraft, rendering the passengers and crew unconscious within minutes. By wearing an oxygen mask, the person in control could have continued to fly the plane for hours, alone and undisturbed. This scenario would explain the lack of communication, the deliberate flight path away from any land, and the long, silent journey south. It is a plausible, yet deeply horrifying, explanation for what might have happened. Other theories have also been proposed. Some suggest a catastrophic event on board, like a fire, which incapacitated the crew but left the plane on autopilot, flying as a ghost flight until it ran out of fuel. However, the deliberate turnbacks and the disabling of communication systems make a simple accident scenario less likely. A mechanical failure or fire would not typically result in such precise, navigated flight path changes. Then there is the theory of a hijacking, but it raises more questions than answers. No group ever claimed responsibility, and the motive for hijacking a plane only to fly it to one of the most remote places on Earth remains a complete mystery. There were no political demands, no ransom notes, just silence. While the official underwater search was suspended, the search for MH370 never truly stopped. In 2015, a piece of aircraft debris, a flaperon, washed ashore on Réunion Island, off the coast of Africa. Investigators confirmed it was from a Boeing 777, and the serial numbers matched those of MH370. It was the first, and for a long time, the only piece of physical evidence that the plane had indeed ended its journey in the Indian Ocean. Since then, more than 20 other pieces of debris, confirmed or believed to be from the aircraft, have been found on the coastlines of Mozambique, Tanzania, and South Africa. Ocean current models showed that debris from the suspected crash zone would indeed drift to these locations. These discoveries confirmed the general search area but did little to pinpoint the exact location of the main wreckage on the seabed. The ocean is vast, and its currents are complex. In 2018, a private American company, Ocean Infinity, launched a new search on a no-find, no-fee basis. They used a fleet of advanced autonomous underwater drones to scan a new, high-probability area identified by experts. Their technology was faster and more advanced than what was used in the initial search, and there was a renewed sense of hope. Yet, after several months of scouring the ocean floor, this search also ended without success. The wreckage of MH370 remained elusive. The disappearance of flight MH370 has exposed vulnerabilities in our modern aviation system. It revealed how an aircraft could be made to disappear by manually disabling its communication and tracking systems. In response, the aviation industry has moved to implement new standards, including longer-lasting flight recorders and systems that can't be so easily shut off, ensuring that aircraft can be tracked at all times. But for the families of the 239 people on board, these changes come too late. They have been left in a state of limbo, without closure and without answers. The official final report from Malaysia concluded that investigators could not determine the cause of the disappearance. The story of MH370 is a humbling reminder that for all our technology, there are still mysteries we cannot solve. It is a tale of incredible human effort, of scientific deduction, and of enduring uncertainty. Somewhere, in the crushing depths of the southern Indian Ocean, the answers lie with the silent wreckage of the plane. Until it is found, the fate of the 239 souls on board will remain one of the greatest and most tragic mysteries of our time. If you found this investigation compelling, subscribe to our channel, Documentary Reel, for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. We continue to seek understanding, even when the answers are hard to find.